Hey everybody, it's Ruby here today, and I thought that I would do a book review for you guys, this time on The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. Now, before I get started into talking about this book, I just wanted to apologize about being AWOL this month of August. I had said that I was going to do VEDA, or vlogging every day in August, just to see what it would be like to daily vlog. And just as I started to get into it, I got a job at a festival that required full-time hours doing the late shift, which completely screwed around anything that I was doing. So I completely lost sort of all sense of time. So I didn't do laundry, I didn't cook really, I just worked for about 10 days. So I'm back on track. I'll be doing a couple of more videos until the end of August, but unfortunately I ended up doing less videos in August than I would have done if I hadn't announced any sort of VEDA thing. Anyways, sorry about that. Let's get on to the review. This is Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. It is a science fiction / fantasy novel about a guy named Genly, who is part of this union to try and unionize or collect planets to become this sort of council of knowledge and technology. So kind of like the European Union, they want all of the planets to be able to communicate and talk with each other, and that will result in sort of a alliance with all of these other planets. This planet that Genly is on is one of the last ones to be recruited because it is so far off from the other planets and it takes so long to get there. So he becomes part of the politics of the planet, and he tries to immerse himself in the people, and just when the book starts, he gets caught up in a whole bunch of political mayhem. So the main reason that I wanted to read this book, other than it being by Ursula Le Guin, was the concept of sexuality and gender. So the main character is male throughout the entire book because he is from Earth, I believe, but everybody else on the planet remains androgynous for the whole month and then will change to being either male or female for the one time that they can reproduce. So the concept of male and female to them has less to do with any sort of conceptualization of feminine or masculine features, but instead has to do with whether you're going to carry a child or just sire a child. And this is incredibly interesting because what she does is she turns what we consider gender on its head. So in our society, I would argue, or at least in Western society, being androgynous or having both sexual organs or transitioning from one sex to another is considered odd. But in this book, being one gender or one sexuality or one whatever is considered odd, because that means to these citizens that he can have sex at any time, and that is considered perverted. One cool thing that this book also mentioned, and I think that Ursula Le Guin definitely snuck this in, is that because this planet cares less about sex and gender, they don't define people by those terms. They don't say, oh, you have womanly features, oh, you have manly features, oh, you should be masculine or feminine. They definitely don't have that as part of their society, and they don't judge people on that. And so there's less of an inequality, and there's a whole conversation on it in this book about sort of the differences in the planets. So that was really cool and definitely kind of got you out of, or made you think about society objectively. This concept is incredibly interesting, and I definitely read it to try and figure that out. I definitely wouldn't read this book just for that idea, though. There are a lot of other books that deal with the same sort of concept of changing from male to female, female to male, or magical realism on the same sort of topic, or actual memoirs on that sort of thing. But I would recommend this book for anybody who likes science fiction or fantasy and would also sort of be interested in that sort of concept. I feel like that idea was integrated in this book fairly well, but was not definitely the main idea in it, which I think was a good thing, because then you aren't putting a huge amount of emphasis on something that's different in this planet compared to ours, but at the same time if you're reading a book about it, then there's no point in reading this one, right? Overall, I liked this book. I would consider it like a 3 out of 5. It didn't blow me away, but it was a good read. There were some parts that I considered to be very confusing. She's an author who has you jump right into the world and doesn't really explain the characters or the places until you've already sort of tried to immerse yourself in it. But she is a great fantasy author, so I would always recommend her for people who like that genre. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'm sorry that I was away for such a long period of time, but I will talk to you guys later.